How to break up with a narcissist without losing your shit. Your presence is no longer required in my life. Okay? Okay. Welcome to Venus Transmissions. I'm Sat Avtar. Today we're going to talk about several ways in which you can stop yourself from absolutely going insane when you have to do the dirty work of breaking up with a narcissist. I'm sorry, it's never fun, but we're going to solve that today, and stay tuned until the end because we're going to do a really nice short breath meditation that will bring us back into Zen mode. Please, don't go hugging the narcissist, because that's one of our first issues that we want to talk about. You want to stop taking this person back. You want to have a zero tolerance policy for their bullshit. Don't go hugging the narcissist or taking the narcissist back for the third, fourth, or fifth time. You know you've done it. I know you've done it. So let's just move on. So first, some interesting statistics before we get into our 5 ways to not lose our when we're breaking up with a narcissist. So they say that 1 in 20 people, at least in the UK where I am right now, is a narcissist. Other statistics are 5% of the population. I can tell you right now that that's probably much higher. Why? Because narcissists don't go to therapy. It's not something that they're trying to work on. They're not trying to improve themselves. So don't blame yourself if you get into a relationship or you're dating someone who starts to display these traits, who you thought in the beginning was absolutely amazing, was best ever, and you were just so happy with all that love bombing. So don't punish yourself if you start dating someone who's a narcissist, or you've been in a relationship with someone who's a narcissist, or you got married to a narcissist. But the problem comes up when you keep going back to that, when you keep thinking somehow that this person is going to change, and that if only you could do this, this, A, B, C, D, F, G, Z, then somehow it would all be perfect. It won't. I want you to remember, if you walk away from this video, there's one thing out of the 5 things that I want you to remember. This is not your fault. So speaking from experience, because I know it's a lot tougher for the people that maybe have just gotten into one relationship or a marriage, and they've gone back and forth with this person, trying to figure it out, broken up 3, 4, 5 times, you think that it has something to do with that person. It doesn't. The trauma that gets ignited, really the feelings, the grief, the sorrow, it has nothing to do with the other person. Because remember, those emotions are all stemming from you. They're coming from you, inside you, your experience. Someone could react completely differently to what you're going through. So keep that in mind, to not put a lot of focus on the narcissist as we go through these 5 things, 5 ways for you to not lose your shit when you're breaking up with a narcissist. Now, we all go into our relationships thinking the best. We really try to put our best selves forward. We overlook things. We're trying to hide all our dirty, icky parts that we judge, and we overlook other people's dirty, icky parts that maybe could be blaring red flags that we're just ignoring. But I want you to remember to pay attention to those. The red flags are your best friend. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to start with number 1, zero tolerance policy. You have to create a policy for yourself that you're not going to put up with any abusive language, devaluing, behavior that is toxic or scary, frightens you, pulls you down. Actually make a list of the things that are not acceptable to you. And then when you see that list and you put it up against the behaviors that this person is engaging in and projecting towards you, actually check mark off that list. You're going to see a lot of those check marked, and you are going to have an epiphany that says, I'm putting up with things that I shouldn't be putting up with. So you need to actually say, I have a zero tolerance policy to this bullshit. and stop. You're going to give yourself a framework for saying no. And that's one of the first things that I want you to do right now. Go get a pen and a piece of paper and write those things down. So you're not going to put up with yelling. You're not going to be putting up with swearing and being called names. You're not going to put up with no-shows, no explanations, ghosting. Those are the kind of things that you want to put on this list and then say, when you are having those things happen to you, when those behaviors, those manipulations are happening, you have to keep the promise to yourself that they're not acceptable. It's really important. Your promise and commitment to yourself is more important than anything else. Number 2, no contact. Now, you've probably heard this before. I mean, if you're new to how to deal with this, if you're just coming into the epiphany of, wow, this person might have the personality disorder. Again, I'm not a therapist, so that's why I always say people can maybe just have the traits. I don't know. But, toxic behavior is toxic behavior at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what the label is, does it? If you can, you just want a cold, no contact. You want to block that person on everything. You don't want to look at their social media. I know it's really hard to do, and here's why it is hard to do. Because what happens in abuse and trauma is it changes the way our brain functions. It almost becomes an addiction. The addiction that we're striving for is that little itty bitty tiny crumb of validation that gives us our little dopamine hit, and then we've got our drug, and then the cycle starts all over again, and we try, and then so we might feel the compelling, overwhelming need to go look at the person's profile to see what they're up to. No, you don't. Now, I've never been married. I don't have children, but I grew up in a household with narcissism. A narcissistic parent, a codependent parent, alcoholic, all the good fun stuff. So I do understand how difficult this is, and I have so much compassion if you're in this situation. However, there is hope. Don't ever lose hope. But what you want to do is you want to find an advocate and create a support system. You want to have a mediator, you want to do parallel parenting, and you can create the boundaries that you need. Again, it still applies, the no contact. The no contact meaning the contact you do not need to have with this person. You don't need to respond to their outrages. You don't need to be looking at their social media. You don't need to give them any fuel outside of the bounds of what you need to accomplish. Keeping your boundaries is one of the most important things. Boundaries, think of boundaries more as maybe a nice fluffy bouquet of flowers. It's like a cage of flowers. And why am I saying it? Because it's when you have that cage, when you have that border, that boundary, what you get is positivity back. What you get, because you're claiming and saying, I'm not going to put up with this. So that you stop getting it when you actually say that you're going to stop putting up with it. You're not being kept in a cage. You're not being kept from good things. You're just saying to the world, this is what I will and will not stand for. Number 3, how to not lose your shit when breaking up with a narcissist. Remember this, above all things in this video, walk away with, it's not your fault. I mentioned this before, and this was the one thing I wanted you to remember out of all the things in this video. There's some other amazing things after this, but I'm putting this one right in the middle because it's the center and so much is connected to it. It's not your fault. And let's expand that out to not only is it not your fault, but there was nothing that you could have done that would have changed anything. There's nothing that you could have said. There's no reaction that if you didn't have it to that extent, if you didn't cry, if you didn't get angry, if you didn't do this, if you didn't spend that, if you came home at that hour, if you didn't hang out with that, whatever has happened, whatever manipulation, gaslighting, and guilt trips you have been given and projected on, there's nothing you could do. Absolutely nothing. The more guilt and shame that you feel, narcissists feed off that. They actually enjoy it. I know it's twisted, it doesn't make any sense, but that's the truth. And this is an opportunity for you to get past the shame that you feel about yourself. So please, forgive yourself. Just feel like you're carrying a heavy load of all the guilt, all the weight. And just let it go. You couldn't have done anything. You couldn't have changed it. You cannot change someone else. And often, especially in a very deep subconscious level, especially with women, I was actually just watching a show yesterday, and there was a line in it where the actor says to his wife that he married that she saved him. So we're just conditioned with this nonsense that we can make men better. I know I'm directing this at men, but there are plenty of women that are also narcissists. And it's also programmed into men as well, just in slightly different ways and manifestations. Someone else's behavior is never your responsibility. And there's a lot of gaslighting in the coaching industry that says you create your reality. And there's some truth to that. However, you're not responsible for someone else's abusive behavior. You're not. And as children, that's what gets programmed into us as well, because we change our behavior so that people will love us. And the guilt and the shame and the self-blame that we get into when we don't succeed at that, and a relationship fails or someone isn't treating us good, and then maybe you see them on social media and you've broken rule number 1, and you see them having happy times with someone else, then you wonder, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. So let it go. Number 4, focus on your own trauma and triggers. A lot of the times when you're going through a narcissistic breakup, you focus on the other person and you're like, why are they behaving like this? Why are they doing this? What am I doing that's causing this? And you're focused on the externals. You're focused on them. You're focused on their behavior instead of focusing on your own inner landscape and your emotions. Instead of taking charge and saying, okay, I'm having this huge emotional reaction. I'm feeling all of this grief. Even sometimes it seems that it's not even proportional to what is going on. You want to find a way through, because this is a huge opportunity. It's a huge door that's just open for you. That narcissist did you a favor. He's showing you, or she's showing you, where you're still holding on to inner resentments, to wounds, to shame, and not accepting yourself. I mean, there are things in life we don't, I don't want to say get over completely, but there just aren't, we can't keep everything the way we want. We can't fix every relationship. We have to be estranged to our families at some point, sometimes. It happens. The control that you have is your own emotional state. Loving yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And that is the gift of having an experience with a narcissist. You will keep getting the gift until you walk through the door and love yourself and choose yourself. Find the methods and ways that work for you when it comes to trauma processing. I'm a trauma-informed Kundalini yoga teacher, level 2, meditation teacher and healer. And I can tell you from my personal experience, I know it's difficult. I mean, it just breaks you open in so many ways. But the gift that you get at the end of all of it is you. A love that is so beautiful, nothing competes to it. The 5th way that We cannot lose our shit when breaking up with a narcissist. It seems obvious. You might think you really do take care of yourself, but I guarantee we can always do more. Well, there's lots of different ways we can engage in self-care. I want to point out though, just make sure, remember, self-care isn't when you go to the beauty aisle at the pharmacy and buy yourself some new makeup or a beauty mask. It could make you feel good, and I'm certainly not discouraging it. But I want to get a little deeper than that. And I definitely am not talking about the self-care that is the superficial level of the BS that especially women and now men are pushed on to just sell products. I'm talking about, do you have a yoga and meditation practice? If you don't, now's the time to start. Do you get regular massages? Are you in therapy? Now is the time to start. These are all self-care. Do you ever take vacations by yourself or take yourself out to dinner? Do you take a day off? I always recommend to people, take a full day where you just do nothing. And if it involves eating chips, that might seem anti-self-care, but you know what? Just go for it. Love. Doing things that you love for you is so important. My favorite, and what I think is one of the most important ways you can engage in self-care, is a meditation practice and engaging in therapy. For me, I have had a meditation and yoga practice for at least 25 years now. And I have to tell you, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Nothing in the world would keep me from that. It has been such a gift, and it's why I share it all the time. And you can find on my channel several videos of meditation and yoga practices that are going to also help you through this. I will, at the end of this video, leave a link to another video in class that you can take for free and try, and like that, you're going to be out of the turmoil, out of the stress, and you're going to be on another level of inspiration and ready just to handle this BS that you are dealing with in your life. You're going to feel empowered. Narcissists love silent treatment. They love to punish you. They love the drama. And they also love convincing other people that you're the cause of the drama, not them. So you need to stay stable. You need a strong navel point. You need to be connected to your breath. You need to find ways to get deep into that core of power that we all have. You need to be your own parent, your own best friend, your own partner. And that's where the self-care comes in. And when you have a practice, it could be anything that you want to create, that's when you can rise up and totally rebirth yourself through this absolute nonsense that they're going to keep dishing out at you. We get so buried under fears because we're subconsciously so needing validation and approval. Once you start validating yourself and giving yourself approval, it breaks you free from those chains of caring what anyone thinks or how anyone reacts, because the people that truly care about you, they're going to be okay with your boundaries. They're going to be okay. They're going to want to do the things that make you happy, that make you feel good and safe. And if you're not getting that, then it's time to choose yourself and walk away and stop with the whole crazy making, because it takes two to tango, and you don't want to light that other firecracker, do you? No, you don't. So at the beginning of the video, I said we were going to do something special at the end. We're going to do a breath meditation. This is so important, to have ways that you can calm yourself down. Maybe you're not into breath work, but I highly encourage you to try it. Yoga and meditation is amazing. It helps us process emotions, wake up our navel point, our strength, get grounded, balance the endocrine system, tone the nervous system, give us energy, calm us down. It is absolutely brilliant. There's so many ways that yoga and meditation can help us. So this is an easy breath work. We're just going to do it for a few minutes. I suggest 3 minutes if you're just starting out. And maybe I'll make another video where I'll do this for longer and then you can really try it out. Again, I have playlists that, the Recharge and Rejuvenate playlist of short meditations, long meditations, classes by time, so you can try out some of these classes. I also have a 7-day abuse recovery nervous system reset program, which is 7 days of classes, a recipe book for detoxifying recipes, amazing breathwork videos that can help you if you really want to dive in. But we'll start here with just a few minutes. Sit any way you like. Just make sure that you're grounded. Spine is straight. If you're in a chair, your feet are flat on the ground. And you're just going to breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 10 seconds, and then exhale for 5. You can use a mantra to count. You can just count numbers, but I want you to close your eyes. Focus up a little bit at your brow point if you can. And as you start this inhale, really feel that you're expanding the belly and the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suspend the breath. Relax your muscles. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now exhale through the nose, bringing the navel point towards the spine. 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holding the breath. 9, 10. Exhale. Inhale again. Holding and suspending that breath, feeling that your energy is expanding, your light, your power is expanding, you're letting go. Exhale. Holding the breath, keep that focus, keep the eyes closed. Every time a thought comes up to distract you, just come right back to the count that you're doing internally. Letting that exhale go, letting all the stress go. Deepening the breath, slowing down the count, slowing down your nervous system. Feeling that your heart center is opening and you have so much gratitude for yourself and your life, for all the gifts that you have. Find something. And even be grateful for all the challenges, all the grief, all the loss. Know that at the end of all this, there's something beautiful. That you find your connection to yourself, and that there's beauty and love always with you, every moment. And on your last inhale, after you hold the breath, just exhale and relax. I had so much fun sharing this information with you today, and I look forward to sharing